Imagine, just for a second, that your brain is a highly advanced laptop. It's got an operating system, it runs software, and it's constantly processing inputs from the world around you just to keep you safe and functioning. Today, in this explainer, we're taking some incredibly dense clinical psychology from Dr. Peter Salerno and Dr. Deborah Lieberman and breaking it down into a concept so incredibly simple, literally a child could understand it. We're going to look at toxic relationships through a lens we all know perfectly, a hacked computer. Because when we talk about toxicity, it's so easy to get lost in all that clinical jargon. But honestly, treating it like a cybersecurity issue gives us the absolute perfect roadmap to understand exactly what's happening behind the screen.
So, we have to start with this massive paradox. Why is it so incredibly hard for really smart, highly capable people to just walk away from someone who treats them badly? From the outside looking in, it seems so simple, right? You see a brilliant friend in a terrible situation and you just wonder why they don't pack up and leave. Well, the research shows that staying in these dynamics actually has nothing to do with being weak, it's not about low self-esteem, and it's definitely not a lack of courage. It is literally about how your brain's fundamental software gets hacked. Even the smartest operating systems in the world can get a virus if the hacker knows exactly which line of code to exploit. To figure out how this hack actually works, we kind of need to look at our baseline operating system. Human beings are evolutionarily wired to connect with others. Think of it like a core survival app that's always running in the background of your phone, draining just a little bit of battery because it literally never turns off. Our brains have this built-in program making us crave friends, love, and community. Thousands of years ago, having a tribe of people who valued you meant you didn't get eaten by a tiger, right? You stayed safe because there was safety in numbers. Well, our brains are still running that exact same connection software today. We are inherently hungry for people who make us feel valued and secure.
Now enter the hacker. A toxic person doesn't just smash down your firewall. No, they sneak in by studying exactly what you like and then absolutely overloading you with fake rewards. Clinicians call this tactic love bombing. Imagine a hacker guessing your passwords just by secretly watching everything you enjoy. It's like clicking a shiny link that promises you a massive prize, but instead it initiates this silent, massive download of fake value right into your brain. They hit the absolute bullseye of your preferences. They like exactly what you like, they say exactly what you want to hear. And by doing this, they completely trick your evolutionary software into thinking, wow, this person truly values me. I absolutely need to keep them around to survive.
And this hack, it follows a surprisingly predictable timeline. First, you get that love bombing, flooding your system with all that fake value, making you feel incredible. But then comes the lock-in phase. This is where the hacker slowly, methodically isolates you from your healthy network of friends and family. Going back to our computer metaphor, this is literally like a virus quietly turning off your Wi-Fi so you can't reach the outside world for help. You're completely isolated. And then, finally comes the glitch. This is that jarring moment they commit their very first unexplainable, incredibly mean act that completely contradicts all the love and affection they just showed you.
In clinical psychology, this exact moment is called traumatic cognitive dissonance. But honestly, let's just call it a brain glitch. Imagine your computer gets two completely opposite commands at the exact same time. What happens? It freezes, right? You get that dreaded spinning wheel of death on your screen. That is exactly what happens to your brain. It gets so confused about what's actually true, you are suddenly forced to hold two completely incompatible realities in your head at the exact same time. This person loves me and is my soulmate, but also this person is intentionally being cruel and hurting me. Your cognitive system just freezes up. And because it's locked in this endless loop, you can't just hit delete on the relationship.
The doctors actually call the result of this glitch an epistemic injury, which is really just a fancy academic way of saying you've sprained your thinking muscle. Think about physically spraining your ankle, but instead of struggling to walk, you sprained your actual ability to process reality. Because the glitch is so incredibly confusing and disorienting, you literally lose your ability to think clearly. You stop being able to trust your own memory, your own judgment. Your cognitive functioning just stops operating the way it normally would to protect you and get you out of danger. You are essentially locked out of your own administrative controls.
So, what exactly does your brain do when the system crashes like this? Well, it desperately tries to fix the glitch. It uses what the researchers called the triangle tool. Picture a triangle trying to balance three really heavy things: your incredibly high regard for this person, their undeniably mean behavior towards you, and your explanation for why they did it. Because you can't easily walk away, your brain has to balance this triangle by just inventing an excuse. Say they suddenly yell at you for absolutely no reason. Your brain quickly chimes in, oh, they're just really stressed from work today. They didn't mean it. You are literally writing a brand new line of code to excuse the glitch, just so your system can stop blaring the alarm and go back to feeling safe.
But here is the real danger in doing that. Healthy human brains naturally want to assume the best intentions. We are built for empathy. We inherently want to believe that someone's bad behavior was, just an accident, a misunderstanding, or maybe they just had a really rough childhood and simply don't know any better. And toxic hackers, they know this. In fact, they completely count on it. They use our own kindness, our own empathy, as a backdoor to stay securely installed in our system. They let us do all the heavy lifting of making excuses for them, which means they literally never have to take accountability for the damage they're causing.
To protect our operating system, we absolutely have to learn how to properly sort the clues people leave us. It's kind of like sorting email spam from legitimate messages. We often give hackers way too much credit for fake good clues. I'm talking about things like buying you a bouquet of flowers, saying they're sorry, or taking out the trash. Think of those actions as spam emails cleverly disguised as a gift card. Literally anyone, even a total psychopath, can fake those things. Real good clues, the deal-breaker goods, are entirely different. We're talking consistent mutual reciprocity, true respect for your boundaries, and a rock-solid track record of never, ever exploiting you. Those are the secure, verified files you actually want in your system.
And the exact same sorting rule applies to bad behavior. We have to ruthlessly separate normal everyday mistakes from massive system-crashing deal breakers. Being late for dinner because you got stuck in heavy traffic? That's just normal human friction. It happens to all of us. But as the researchers pointed out in one specific case study, threatening to slash someone's tires if they don't let you inside their house, that is a massive deal breaker. Hackers absolutely love to operate in the gray area, trying to convince you that threatening to slash your tires is just normal relationship friction, like forgetting to buy milk. But it's not. It is a critical error.
To cut completely through all that gray area and finally see the truth, the researchers suggest using Bayes' rule. We can turn this into a super simple thought exercise, literally easy enough for a child to grasp. When someone does something incredibly mean or unsettling, just pause your system and ask yourself this one question. Imagine a room full of 100 perfectly healthy, loving, well-adjusted partners. Out of those 100 people, what is the probability that a genuinely good person would ever do this specific action to someone they deeply care about?
If the answer to that question is a 0% chance, you have found a hacker. I really want that to sink in for a second. In the world of healthy people who truly value you, the chance of someone using emotional blackmail, intentionally isolating you, or threatening violence is absolute zero. It's not an accident, it's not a misunderstanding, and it is definitely not a product of them just having a bad day. It is a highly intentional, calculated tactic straight out of their playbook, specifically designed to keep you off balance and keep them in control.
Which brings us to a really perplexing question, one that is absolutely crucial to address. If we can map all this out so clearly, if the code is this obvious when we just look at it logically, why do the absolute smartest, most capable people get stuck in these traps for years? Why do brilliant scientists, incredibly successful CEOs, and highly intelligent individuals find themselves completely unable to break free from a toxic hacker? Well, it turns out that a highly advanced operating system is sometimes actually easier to crash. This is what we call the smart brain trap. Smart brains are incredibly flexible. They actually pride themselves on wanting to be fair and wanting to see every single shade of gray. They are totally willing to admit when they're wrong. But most dangerously, they have the raw processing power to invent incredibly complex, deeply psychological excuses for why someone is mistreating them. They refuse to see things in simple black and white because they're used to solving complex puzzles, so they end up completely overcomplicating the hacker's abusive behavior.
This is absolutely crucial to understand, so if you take anything away from this explainer, let it be this. Getting stuck is not a failure of your intelligence, and it definitely isn't a lack of a backbone. The hacker knows you try to be fair, they know you want to be understanding. This is a deliberate biochemical hijacking by someone who is specifically weaponizing your absolute best traits, your fairness, your intellect, and your deep empathy against you. They are literally using your own massive processing power to keep you locked inside the relationship.
So how do we actually fix the glitch and reboot the whole system? We need a strict antivirus protocol. Because understanding the hack is only half the battle, right? The other half is actually removing the malware. Dr. Salerno and Dr. Lieberman present this brilliant, concrete tool to clean this virus out of your system once and for all. It's a completely objective way to look at the raw data of your relationship. They call it the reality ledger.
Here is exactly how you run that scan. Step 1. Find 5 real, undeniable deal breakers. Things a healthy person would literally never, ever do.
Step 2 is honestly the hardest part. You have to apply a strict stopping rule. You are no longer allowed to play therapist. You cannot analyze their childhood trauma, you cannot try to decode what they really meant, and you absolutely cannot invent a single excuse for them. You just look at the raw data. Step 3, you walk away. You only need 5 concrete deal breakers to prove the system is infected and permanently close the book on that relationship.
Dr. Lieberman sums up this research perfectly. She says, it is not that simple to escape it, but it is as simple to see it. Let's just take a second to reflect on the gravity of that statement. Escaping a toxic hacker is incredibly difficult. It is emotionally wrenching, it's scary, and sometimes it's even physically dangerous. But the actual math of seeing the truth, that is completely black and white. We have to strip away all those highly complex excuses we've coded for them and just look at the raw, undeniable data right in front of us.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. If you were to run this antivirus scan on your own relationship ledger right now, looking strictly at the hard facts, looking at the undeniable behaviors without inventing a single excuse to soften the blow, what clues would you find hidden in your own system? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your software updated, stay fiercely curious, and above all else, always trust the hard data.